Have you ever heard a better version of that song?
I hate to compare versions of the Star Spangled Banner, but that is a very good version.
I think they did an excellent
Yeah.
job with that. It was amazing.
Now the Reagan speech, I got chills.
Yeah, Reagan had some really great
Oh
speeches.
man, that Reagan speech was awesome. Kudos, man.
Yeah, I can't take no credit. I just came across it and
Yeah.
I was like, I've got to play that. So I just kind of hope people remember what Memorial Day is all about. I know, unfortunately, in society today, it's basically a cooler and a trip to the lake.
Well, yeah, it's kind of sad and disappointing that a lot of people use Memorial Day weekend, the 3-day weekend, to they usually go fishing or barbecuing or they're doing these family events and so forth. But how many people plant flags and flowers and so forth?
We had to plant flags when we were kids. That
Yeah,
was part of the thing.
Yeah, we did too.
We didn't have a choice, and everyone else was out on some kind of trip on to the lake or whatever. And no, we were out there planting flags. I think just as society, we've kind of let that slip, and we've forgotten. And we really need it. It's time for us to kind of step up.
Well, I think a lot of this really stems with the mixed feelings towards the political aspect of why we were involved in various military or wars or conflicts. Really since Vietnam. I don't think Korea really got as much of protesting as the Vietnam War did, but since Vietnam, it's like just about every military conflict the United States has been involved in, the respect for the military men and women has really, I don't know, decreased, I guess. A lot of people have just, I can understand people protesting for peace, but at the same time,
I'm against war. I think wars are terrible, but I'm all about our soldiers because these are our children, the men and women of this country that decide to take this role upon themselves, and some of them give their lives. And whether you protest war or you're against war, that's fine. But going to the lake and partying and barbecuing and stuff, that has nothing to do with it. That's the downside to it.
Yeah.
It's more like we overlook it than we are against it.
One thing that people need to really keep in mind is a nation without a military will not be a nation for very long.
Oh, very true.
And we need to, be thankful that we have the military that we have now.
No, most definitely.
And be grateful for the serving men and women that choose to serve, that choose to put themselves in harm's way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got people protesting more now. How would they feel if they lived in countries where young men and women didn't have a choice and they had to join the military? Yeah. See, no one thinks about it that way.
Well, we've had this discussion before. Is people don't take the time to really think anymore. They don't want to have to think. They just want to have a straight line idealism, and that's it.
Oh, that's work. It's easier to pack the cooler and head south.
Exactly. It's easier to have that straight line idealism and not have to think. And let me tell you something, folks. It's not a lot of work to think. Take a few minutes. Think about a subject, and then try to think about it in another aspect.
Well, and here's another thing that kind of I don't know if I want to say appalls me, but it saddens me. How about that? That so many people don't know what Memorial Day is, or don't know the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. I've asked people, and they don't know. They have no idea what Memorial Day is, and I don't know. It's just saddening. No one understands it. That today is a day. Well, not today. Monday is a day we take out in remembrance of those that have fallen during wartime. Um, nobody, I guess nobody really, once we get out of school, no one thinks about that. I don't know if we forget that information. How does that happen? Because I know it was taught in school. I know you learned it. I know I learned it.
I don't know, man. I think it's really an idealistic shift. I mean, really, since the 60s. I mean, since the Vietnam conflict, and I don't really like that term conflict because it was war. We had soldiers
war.
there.
Right.
They died. Of course, both sides lost soldiers, but it was a war. And with the protesting of, I may not necessarily agree of why we were there, but the fact that we were there. Okay, people, you may not agree with why the soldiers are there, but you have to understand that these are people that they have no choice in the orders that they choose to obey or disobey. When you're drafted, or in this case during the Vietnam War, these people were drafted, trained, and sent to war. They had no choice in the matter. It's either be drafted or leave the country. Otherwise, you'd be going to prison. So they go, they do their duty, and then acting in their duty, sometimes they, just in any war, you find yourself having to perform horrible acts. That's war. War is horrible. War is not a video game that you play on your Xbox or PlayStation or computer or whatever. It is the killing of innocent people. It is the killing of enemy soldiers. It is sometimes even the killing of children. As a society, as a human society, we need to really take a very close, realistic look at the whole idealism of war and decide, is this something we want to do?
Well, unfortunately, we don't have a choice. Sometimes war comes to us.
Sometimes it does.
So hopefully, all the people this Monday will take just a little bit of time, and while they're doing their barbecuing or at the lake or whatever they may be doing this weekend, and just remember, those that have fallen. So we'll kind of get away from this because I could probably talk about this for like a couple hours, and then the whole show's over. Boom, gone. So other than that, it's started off to be a good weekend so far.
Oh, we got rain moving in again. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be heading to the lake.
No, you're not.
No.
Matter of fact, we had some plans we wanted to go out today, and that kind of didn't make it. So, rain was coming. We just didn't know when.
Rain was coming, and the range was full.
Yeah, there was probably god amounts of people down there. Yeah. I can just imagine.
Well, they were all full, and there was people waiting in line. So.
Not this guy. I'm not waiting in line for nothing.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I guarantee you'll wait in line for your double cheese with no pickle.
Oh yeah, you're right there. You'll wait for that. But yeah, we didn't get to go out and do anything today. That sucks, but it's all right. There's next weekend.
Hell, there's tomorrow.
Well, there's tomorrow, but I think it's supposed to rain most of the day tomorrow, so that probably kills that idea.
Yeah.
So, other than that, all I know is we got these couple of things coming up. Let's see, what was it? We got this carjacking story.
Oh, this is great, man.
Yeah, that's kind of. I like to hear stories like this because.
Okay.
I think we need to hear more stories like this. But go ahead, yeah.
So, a man in Georgia. Okay, you got to keep in mind this is in Georgia. We're proud to carry guns in Georgia.
The South, woohoo!
So, he's in his car, and here comes this other dude just hopping into his car. The driver's being carjacked, and the alleged carjacker says to the driver, "You know what this is." Now, before this alleged carjacker even gets fully seated, the driver pulls out his gun.
I bet that was not the response he was looking for.
This was not the response to the alleged carjacker. And I say alleged because this guy has not been tried yet.
Well, no, he didn't get eject the car. How about attempted alleged carjacker?
Well, yeah, I believe the attempted or the alleged carjacker is being being held on attempted robbery charges. But the man pulls out his gun, and it's at this point where this alleged carjacker completely changes his tone and goes into the "I'm sorry, I made a mistake."
Well, it's funny how staring down a barrel does that.
Yeah, staring down the barrel of a gun will make you cower for your life. And that's basically what this guy was doing. And he says, I'll just leave, you know. And the driver says, "You're not going anywhere." They both get out of the car, and the driver holds this alleged carjacker on the ground. You know, he's got him sprawled out on the ground, face down, holding him there with his gun. He calls 911. The cops show up and take care of business. Now, I want to give props to the driver. I know many of people, possibly ourselves included, that would have just shot the son of a bitch.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, he showed restraint.
This man showed.
But do you really want a hole in the door of your car?
Well, I don't want to clean up the mess.
Well, the blood doesn't bother me. It's the hole going through the outside of the door that I'm going to have to catch later. Explain that one to the insurance company.
Yeah, I wonder if you're covered.
That is a good question.
Yeah.
If you get carjacked and you have to shoot,
are you covered for that?
Because I'll be honest with you, if someone come up to my driver's door to carjack me,
this guy came up to the passenger door. He got in on the passenger side.
And that's another point I want to bring up in a second. But most times in a carjacking, they will come up to the driver's door, demand you get out. They may shoot you, they may not, and they take the car and they go. Normally, they don't get in the passenger's door, which we'll get to that in a second. But I'm going to tell you now, in my situation, if someone comes to my driver door, I don't care if I got to shoot through my own door to hit them. I'm not going to think twice about putting the slug through the door before it goes into them. I don't know about shooting the glass because I don't think I want that.
I'd rather shoot the glass than shoot through the door. Well, see, but then you can
have glass fragments going everywhere.
Yeah, but it'd be going out.
I don't know.
No, it would be.
All of it? You think so?
Well, I'm not saying that you wouldn't end up with some glass down, but you shouldn't have any blowback in your face from the glass.
Well, that would be my only concern. I think I'd just put a slug through the door first.
No, I wouldn't I'd just go through the glass.
So let's get to the guy getting in the passenger door.
Mm-hmm.
How do you carjack someone from the passenger side? What do you do? Hop in and go, all right, I'm just going to sit here and you're going to drive me around. Because really, how are you going to drive from the passenger side of the car?
Well, I assume that you're going to try and muscle your way, try to get the driver to get out, I'm assuming. I don't know. I've never carjacked anybody, so I can't tell you the inner workings of a carjacker's mind.
I mean, was this guy from Alabama and he was just in Georgia? Because that sounds like something they'd do.
You got something against Alabama?
I just did not have good luck with Alabama people. Now, let me tell you.
I've been to Alabama, and let me tell you, I had a very pleasant experience in Alabama. The people were very friendly. The food was good. I had some fried chicken in Alabama. I forget the name of this place, but it's one of their local drive-through places. It was, you could get, some chicken, and they had like these half-gallon things of tea that you could get. Oh, it was just good. Really good.
Well, that's because nobody cares about their cholesterol in Alabama.
Yeah, like people care about their cholesterol here. Come on.
So
there's 2 states where they care about cholesterol, and we don't like either one.
That is a good point. But no, I didn't have a good experience with Alabama whatsoever. Now, if I was going to rank friendliest states, Kentucky and Tennessee would be a fight for number 1. Those two are like the 2 friendliest states I've ever been in my life. People are just friendly and nice.
I don't know. I've had very good luck in the Carolinas as well. Both.
I can see that.
And you know what was great when I was in the Carolinas? I sit down and I've got my smokes with me, and I asked if I could smoke, I'm in I think it was a bar, restaurant type place, and they give me the strangest look. Like they've never heard that question before. And the waitress in that lovely accent that they speak in the Carolinas says, "Sweetie, you're in tobacco country. Of course you can smoke in here." And I said, "God bless you."
Right, yeah.
But in Arkansas folks,
Arkansas is not bad.
but
I'd like Arkansas more if it was just the land and not the people. Some of the people are really friendly, but there's some that they're not.
well, you got to be when you get in the hills of Missouri and Arkansas, and even parts of Tennessee and so forth. For the most part, they're very down home, good folks. Just don't piss them off. You don't talk bad about God. That will just get you shot.
Oh, so it probably wouldn't be good for you to go.
I don't talk bad about God. And you don't question or make fun of their religion, and you just don't act stupid. As long as you're respectful, it comes right back at you.
Well, respect does go a long way.
Yeah.
My thing with Alabama,
And as long as you're not from New York or California, you're fine.
we made a trip down through. We actually cut through Illinois, down there by the Boot Hill, and then cut in through the western side of Kentucky, and then went over and went down through Tennessee into Alabama. Now, the whole time we're in Kentucky, I remember it very well. That day as we're traveling through, I was wearing a shirt that says "I beat anorexia." You're right. See, you get it.
I get it.
Everybody in Kentucky got it. Everybody in Tennessee got it. They all thought it was hilarious as can be. We get to Alabama. Yeah, no, they got no sense of humor down in Alabama, especially Coleman, Alabama. I'm sitting there talking to this old boy at this gas station, and he just, the most somber tone to him. He was just like there. Like you could have lit a firecracker under this man, and he wouldn't have moved 2 inches. I mean, he just was that kind of guy. So all the way back into Tennessee, I'm thinking, how do people down here are just really not that friendly? And then it dawned on me, they can't read anyway, so they don't even know what the shirt says.
Oh, come on. Come on.
They're like, we're real sorry about your disease, but we're glad you beat it. Now, I tell you what, Alabama is a pretty state. Beautiful land down there. I just didn't have no good luck with the people, that's all. They were just very standoffish.
Have you met you? Can you blame them?
I'd like to think I'm kind of friendly.
Well, you go on thinking that.
That's what hey, Sunny and 70 in my head, dude. I don't care what you say. I get it. I look like a pissed off grizzly bear all the time. I have a permanent scowl upon my face. I get it. It's not that I'm mad. People often think that I'm mad. And I'm not. That's just my normal look. I mean, I don't look like a happy person. But once you get to know me and my sense of humor, it's a little different.
Well, my friend, you at first impressions, you come off as sometimes an odd duck.
Yeah. And sometimes I come off as a dick. I mean, I
was trying to be nice about it.
I know. It's
sugarcoat things for you.
I don't need no sugarcoating. I got it. I've been dealing with this my whole life.
So have we.
Yeah. Well, you've only been dealing with it for, what, 20 years now?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So, but anyway, back to where we were. What were we talking? Oh,
we were
yeah,
talking about the Georgia man carjacking.
So, to get in the passenger side just doesn't make sense to begin with. I don't know what he was thinking.
If I knew a carjacker or someone that has done this, I would ask them, why would you carjack somebody in this manner? But I don't, so I can't.
Well, I'm not even a carjacker, and it doesn't make sense to me.
But, the restraint that the driver showed by not shooting this guy,
Oh yeah, I
And
would just squeeze one off.
how he held the man there and called 911. I mean, you got to really hand it to him.
I think I would have been like, "Hey, today's not your day." Well, I take that back. It is.
You get to go to jail.
No, I'm saying you, your maker. You hopped in my car.
Yeah,
You don't belong here. So, the funny thing is how quick the guy drew the gun. Someone hops in your car that quickly to draw a gun that quick. I mean, you could tell
Well,
that apparently
I think he already had the
quite a
gun
bit.
in the car. I don't think he was wearing it on him. I think this was a car gun.
Oh,
So the guy
kind of
hops
like
in.
I do. Most of the time, I keep mine tucked between the seats. The handle sets right up so I can grab it at any moment. So
that may have well been the case in this gentleman's incident here, but wow, I don't know. It'd be 50-50. It'd be a coin flip for me if I would shoot the guy or not.
I don't even think I would have thought about it. I think I would have seriously pulled and squeezed. I don't even think I would have had a time to even say a word.
But this this guy, he handled it very well.
Definitely. Hey, let's go to a music break real quick.
Do I have time for a cigarette?
Yeah, we'll come right back. Oh, that was like a short break. It seemed like. Did you get your cigarette in?
Yeah, I got a cigarette in.
So you feel better?
Well, I feel somewhat better.
Somewhat better.
Somewhat better.
When we were young and we had a problem with someone, usually we confronted them.
Absolutely.
Nowadays, it seems like most of these guys are what I like to refer to as the keyboard badasses.
The keyboard ninjas.
Yeah, they hide behind a keyboard and run their mouths or do other unspeakable acts that So, and this is where this whole cyber psycho come from, because stalking back in the day was one thing, but now with technology, it's like taken to a whole new level, and the things you can do with a keyboard are just crazy.
Well, the thing is a lot of these people aren't as confrontational as they are, as we were in our day. Even still today, if you got a problem with somebody, you knock on somebody's door and say, "We need to talk about this. We've got a problem. Let's take care of it before it gets stupid." Whereas these keyboard ninjas, they just, dude, I don't know. They take things to a realm of stupidity that no ass beating would go to. If you had a problem with somebody and it turned into a fight, so it turns into the fight's over, both people are hurting.
Yeah, but when it gets to the point where you're sitting behind a keyboard and having people's utilities shut off,
and well, okay, here's the story. Young Canadian male, okay,
dang Canucks,
a Canuck out of all people, pled guilty to 23 charges of extortion, criminal harassment, and public mischief. Okay.
Public mischief, but he was hiding behind a keyboard.
Yeah, he was hiding behind a keyboard.
But it's public
17-year-old,
mischief.
17-year-old Canadian male. They didn't release his name because he's still a minor, technically. So, here's the thing. His victims were primarily young female gamers and their parents. Okay. Female gamers who would reject his friend invites. And we're talking about games like League of Legends or various games along those lines, okay? You're online playing
these big games. MMOs.
Yeah,
I got it.
Okay. He would, send them friend requests, to be his gamer friend, okay? And then when he would be rejected, these female gamers were subjected to an onslaught of various forms of harassment. He would try shutting down their internet access, posting their personal information online. Um, the article goes on and says that he proceeded to go the extra mile and repeatedly call them late at night. He also did what is being known as swatting. And this is where he would call emergency services and pretend that some horrific incident took place. And they give examples of
I just got a picture of a bunch of guys on horses showing up.
Well, one example that they give in the article is that he called in and said that he murdered his parents with an AR-15, or that the parents were murdered, or there were bombs placed throughout the house. And then in comes the SWAT team to these female gamers' house, kicking in the door, and of course it's a prank played by this 17-year-old Canadian gamer. And evidently he did quite a bit of this. This guy even went as far as to post on, I guess he posted this on YouTube, an 8-hour stream of him terrorizing fellow gamers in this manner. Now, after he did that, that's what got him caught. Authorities.
Someone just needs a good ass whooping. Well, that's what it is.
He also, he would post families' personal information. Their insurance information, their credit card information, their social insurance information. He would attempt to have the parents' utilities cut off. He even signed a woman up for a $500 a month mobile data plan. I mean, these are your keyboard ninjas at work here.
I don't know if ninja's the right word.
Yeah.
Asshole comes to mind.
Somebody needing of a severe beating comes to mind.
Definitely, yeah.
Now, the article goes on and says supposedly he was a member of what is known as the Lizard Squad, which is a hacking group. They took credit for the 2014 attacks on the PlayStation Network and the Xbox Live Network, and amongst others. Yeah, 17-year-old kid.
Yeah, well, I mean, it takes a real badass to harass a young girl.
This is why I'm saying people under the age of 21 should not be allowed the use of computers and cell phones.
Well, I don't know about not allowed to use. They should be allowed to use it. Where were the parents in this?
Yeah, the article doesn't say.
Yeah, see, that's what I want to know. That's what it always boils down to. Where's the parents?
Yeah, this kid needed the living shit beat out of him.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
But being this keyboard warrior, he can sit behind the keyboard and say and do whatever he wants without retaliation versus confronting somebody.
Well, let's see how well that works for him in a boys' home or jail.
Well, him being a minor and being a Canadian minor at that, I don't know what they're going to do to him.
Well, they may have a juvenile hall. Well, he maybe tried it as an adult too.
If
calling in threats like that, yeah, that's pretty serious.
If this happened if this happened in this state, I would ask the state prosecuting attorney to make sure he got the maximum on each and every offense, and have the sentence not carry concurrently. If the maximum sentence is 10 years on each offense, then give him 10 years for each offense and make sure he stays in there.
I agree. But, it's Canada. Who's to say what will happen?
Yeah.
Maybe he can get lucky and he can try hacking some of those Waco bikers. I mean, he's such a badass. Let him take that on. I mean, he could sit in his room for a couple weeks, watch all the reruns of Sons of Anarchy, and go get on eBay and buy himself a leather jacket, and little badges.
One thing that kills me, we've talked about this, is the difference between your real biker clubs and your
Right.
wannabe bikers.
The weekend warriors, so like the ones that like to ride on the weekends. And
Now, I can't say anything bad about the weekend riders.
oh no, I don't care if you ride a motorcycle or not, but let's just face reality with what it is. You get up on Saturday morning, you polish your bike, you put on your little leathers, you ride around town all day, you stop at the local bar, have a couple drinks at night, ride your bike home. And then you'll repeat the process next Saturday. That is a recreational weekend rider. That's what that is.
You know what? That's fine.
That's fine.
When you start wearing other people's colors and patches,
To
be a
that's
wannabe,
not fine.
that's going to get you hurt.
Right. I think we've kind of got to a point in life where we kind of forgot the 70s and the whole biker movement.
The 60s.
And we really didn't.
We
kind of thought it was gone.
50s,
and, things happen behind the scenes that the public don't know about. This stuff happens.
They choose to be blind to it, and the way I look at it as, the biker clubs, I would say 90% of the time they conduct their business, whatever that is, without involving the general public. And, whatever you do, that's fine. As long as you're not hurting anyone else, fine. Conduct whatever business, just as long as you're not hurting anyone else.
Right. And there is a lot of bikers out there that do a lot of charity work.
Oh, tons of bikers.
Right.
Tons of bike
I don't
clubs
have
that
a
do
problem
charity
with the
work
bikers. I have a problem with the ones that sit at home and watch these TV shows, glamorize the lifestyle, and get online and order all their gear and head out on the road. Those are the jackasses that are going to get themselves killed.
Yeah.
Yeah. That and those ones on them crotch rockets. I can't stand those guys either. Zigging in and out of traffic. And like, hey, I remember it's just a couple years ago we had one out here off the interstate.
Instant pancake.
He was running from the cops, and he thought he'd go in between two semis. Well, and the vacuum between those two trucks pulled him underneath the truck. Yeah, not so smart, are you? So yeah, I don't really care for the crotch rocket guys. Those aren't bikers.
No,
those are a-holes on two wheels.
Yeah,
is what those guys are.
Idiots. You don't need to go 200 miles an hour on a motorcycle.
Right. A true biker isn't out to piss people off. They're out to enjoy their ride and hit the open road. That's what they're about. And we see them all the time on the interstate out here.
Yeah.
They're kicked back on their Harleys. They're not cutting people off. They're not. If anything, they're hoping that we see them and we don't cut them off.
Yeah. Well, one thing I find very interesting in this state is, we have these big lit up signs along the highway,
right?
That tell people, watch out. Share the road. Watch out for motorcyclists. And here a while back, I think it was last week, we had a bike club of veterans come through town, and they come through town periodically, and every time they do, you have kids coming out of the schools lining up and down the main street. Everybody's waving flags for the veteran biker gang. I can't say gang, but biker club.
Right.
These guys, they do the charity work. They do the charity biker runs and so forth, and that's wonderful. Now
look at Bikers for Babies in Kansas City.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say that some of these other biker clubs, like the clubs down in Waco, or like the thing that happened in Waco, I'm not saying that they may or may not participate in this. I'm not going to talk a bunch of trash about biker clubs. But one thing you do need to know is
well, no, you don't want to show one up at your door.
Well, no. I'm not worried about that. It's just that people need to realize, it could be a biker club, a car club, or any kind of organization. When you get I don't know if these various clubs were at odds with each other or not, but there were 5 biker clubs meeting in, I think it was Waco, Texas, and they were having a meeting about something. Now I can assume, or you can assume, that maybe it was about territory, maybe it was about dealing in whatever goods. Who knows? But there was two groups that got stupid with each other, and 9 people ended up dead. Now, the interesting thing about this is the 9 people that ended up dead were members of the 2 rival factions. There weren't civilians injured. It was just 2 of the 5 groups that had met. Things had gotten a little out of hand between them. And that's part of the biker club life. That's just a fact of it.
Oh, yeah.
It's not outlaw glory here. This is just part of it.
Now, you were talking about the signs on the interstate, share the road. Let's clarify that. Share the road for motorcycles, not the little spandex guys on the 10-speed bikes.
10-speed bikes, you need to go find the bike trail.
Yeah, get the hell off my highway.
Get off the highway.
So yeah, I don't have a problem with bikers. I really don't. I could care less either way. That doesn't appeal to me.
I've met some, I guess you quote them, bikers or members of biker clubs, and the one thing that I really admired about them is they were no bullshit, straight up honest with you. Whether they liked you or not, they'll tell you straight up the way things are and what they're thinking, without any kind of dancing around bullshit niceties, And that's one thing I kind of admired out of the bikers that I've met. So many people today, let's say you say hello to a stranger on the street. Big chances are they're not going to even acknowledge your existence. You walk into a biker bar and say howdy to a biker, and they'll greet you the same.
I don't make it a point to hang out in biker bars, so I really couldn't tell you.
You should try it sometime.
How that works.
They know how to party.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Just not my cup of tea.
Granted, I wouldn't suggest bringing the kids along, but
I've always been a car guy, so I'm just not
they're good
into
people. They're good people that sometimes
happens.
Get involved in some questionable things, but don't we all?
No, not all of us.
Well, maybe some of us just don't know how to live. Live a little.
Yeah, live a little till you get caught. Then it's no longer fun. So, yeah, like I said, the only thing that aggravates me is the little wannabes.
Yeah,
they aggravate me more than anything.
Well, you got people who act without thinking. They want to buy the patches and they want to have the colors without being a member of a club. That's gonna get you hurt, if not dead.
Yeah. And again, that's why I like cars. We don't wear jackets. We don't have colors. So yeah, either way. So I think we should take a quick music break and then come back, because I think this next bit we're going to do is probably going to run a little long. Man, talk about some crazy stuff and putting people down. Did you hear about that crazy crap that went on down in Clinton, Missouri, that started out in Sedalia, Missouri?
Oh, yes, I did. You and I've had conversations about,
pretty much every day.
Yeah, we have conversations every day. But when you have these crazy sons of bitches doing sick shit, like the guy we're about ready to talk about right now, how we're of the mind to go old Yeller on these people, tie him up to the tree, hit him in the head in the shovel, or in this case, shoot him till he's dead.
I think the shovel would be more amusing. But don't give it to the biggest guy on the team. Give it to the little guy first.
Yeah, let the little guy take the swing first.
That way it doesn't kill him and just causes him pain. And work your way up to the big guy.
Yeah, let the big guy finish him off.
Right.
Okay, so here's a little backstory for you folks. On April 30th, so this was a little while back. Let me see here. A Missouri woman escaped captivity from a wooden box 3 weeks ago. She was found dead. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. I'm sorting through my notes.
Is that what
Oh,
that
okay,
is?
here it is. On April 30th, woman told police that her former boyfriend, and do we want to do names?
Well,
I
I
don't want
think
to. I don't. I really don't
not
want
the
to.
victims' names.
Okay,
We can
okay,
give out the guy's name because
okay,
he was put down like a rabid dog today, and I'm kind of happy about that. I wish it would have been sooner.
okay. So, on April 30th, a woman told police that her former boyfriend, who is identified as James B. Horn Jr., 47 years old, had routinely locked her in a box in their home in Sedalia, Missouri over a period of 4 months. I mean, this guy went Silence of the Lambs on her. Literally locked this woman up in a box. And April 30th, she made it to the police, told the cops what was going on, and she was offered police protection but turned it down. Instead, her and her son decided to go live with relatives in Clinton, thinking that she could get away from this psycho. Now, once she made the report, the warrant went out for this guy. The manhunt begun. The cops were ready to capture the psycho. Took them some time for them to catch up to him. That's what's sad, is while the cops are looking for him, this crazy psycho finds his girlfriend or soon-to-be ex-girlfriend and shoots her and her 17-year-old son. Crazy son of a bitch. Now, fortunately, the way my understanding goes, it was a joint task force of various police departments in that Missouri. I think it was a tri-county area of 3 different counties in that Clinton and Sedalia area, and I think there's another small town there, Green Ridge. They finally found the man and put him down. Hats off, gentlemen.
Yeah, I think they said it was in like a conversation. Can't even say it now. My mind just totally went bleh. Conservation area that they finally caught up with him. I think he got cornered in some like little building that was there that used by the actual like I guess Parks and Rec or whether it be the conservation people, whatever. And he cornered himself up in there.
Well, the police had made a statement earlier encouraging him to turn himself in.
That never really works.
And it didn't work this time either. He didn't turn himself in.
Which I'm glad he didn't.
Yeah. This guy had a criminal history. He had been, I think he had served some time in prison. Let's see. Yeah, he had served some time in prison for crimes involving another girlfriend. And the federal prosecutors of that case wanted to have him labeled as a sexual sadist. Okay. Now, here's the thing. So this other girlfriend, and I believe this took place in Mississippi. He had another girlfriend, did some similar type things, kidnapping type shit going on there. He spends his time in prison. His time's up. Now, the federal prosecutor goes to the judge and says, look, we want to have this guy involuntarily committed. We want him stay locked away. But the judge denies the prosecuting attorney's request. I'm sure the judge was probably of the mind, the guy did the crime, the guy served the time, we're letting him loose. The prosecuting attorney's probably thinking, the guy did the time, he's still a freaking psycho, we need to hang on to him. But
well, yeah, I mean, if it shows a pattern that this is the history of this guy, that would kind of been like bells and whistles going off.
I don't know if there was an evaluation made. If there wasn't, there definitely should have been. especially over this type of behavior. You know, you're locking people up in boxes and kidnapping, and I don't know if there was a sexual assault charge involved or not. But
Well, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. We all think about locking our girlfriends or spouses in boxes, but we don't. So yeah, I would say there's definitely something wrong.
but thankfully, the Missouri police officers found this crazy son of a bitch and put him down. Click, click, boom.
I really wish somebody would have pulled out a cell phone and videotaped it.
Well, now I don't want to see that's not something I would particularly want to see.
Oh, sign me up. Put that on pay-per-view.
But let this be an example for you other crazy sons of bitches out there that these type of acts will not be tolerated and will be met with the deadliest of force.
That scared me a little. But no, really. I think, and I've always said this, and I know it's kind of a morbid thing to think of, but like public executions. Oh yeah, let's bring that back. Let's do it at halftime during the Super Bowl.
Public punishment, period, I think would be great. I mean, I think China does caning. I don't know if that would necessarily be something we would want to look into or not. But
I'm thinking
in the old days, public executions, people would have a picnic. You would have the scaffolding with the noose all up, and
I'm good with that too.
You've got people out there singing church hymns, and it's a big gathering. And I think that the public hangings or the public executions really put people in the mindset, this is what happens when you do stupid shit, or this is what happens when you shoot people. This is what happens when you rob people. This behavior will not be tolerated. Let this be an example for everybody.
Exactly.
It kept the general public in line.
Another idea that I've always had too is when crimes like this happen or things are close to this nature, maybe not necessarily this case. This is a kind of different case, but either way, I always thought the punishment should be dealt out by the family.
Now here's the thing.
Let the family decide what happens to this man or person, whoever, in this that does you wrong.
I definitely think that the family should have a say.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they should have the final say.
I think if you hurt one of my family members, I should have the right to say, okay, fine, we're going to put him to death, but I get to choose how.
Okay, here's an example. Let's say that me and one of your boys are riding on a motorcycle, and your boy falls off the back of my bike and is killed. He dies.
What's an accident? As long as you're not drunk or impaired in some way, it's an accident. But viciously going into a home and killing a woman and her 17-year-old child,
put him down.
Yeah, and let me decide how it's done. Matter of fact, just tie him to a tree and give me a sledgehammer.
Well, now we've got this thing about, I believe it's in our Constitution, about cruel and unusual punishment.
No, nothing. I don't see anything cruel about that. He deserves every bit of it.
Well, I'm not saying he's not deserving of it, but how do we define cruel and unusual?
Well, apparently they say water torture is.
Well, yeah, water torture is supposed to be
waterboarding, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't really say that was committed in the United States, though. They did that in.
I just don't think a person of that caliber deserves any mercy at all.
Well, I think a person like that suffers from some kind of sickness of which there is no cure. I don't.
Sometimes I don't even think it's a sickness. I think some people are so just twisted and perverse.
Well, that's why I say
I
sickness.
don't like to call it a sickness. I mean, because
There's no cure for it.
everybody gets some kind of messed up thought in their head about something, but we don't act on it. That the guy that makes you mad, and you're like, oh, I'd like just to pull him out of his car and beat his ass or smash his head in the asphalt.
You know what? Those sons of bitches that like to mow their yards at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm not locking them in boxes or shooting at them or anything like that.
Exactly.
I'll go around the house all day bitching about it, and I'll call friends up and bitch about it, but
we don't act upon it.
We don't, we vent.
Yeah, we vent over someone that made us mad, and that's as far as it goes. I can't even find a comparison, really, because what he did to me is he has no rights as a human from that point forward.
Well, what he did is...
I see him as an animal. I would look at him the same as I do a coyote. I have no feelings whatsoever about putting that creature down. Doesn't bother me in the bit. I know a lot of people do. A lot of people have problems with the death penalty and this cruel and unusual punishment and all this stuff. But as for me, I'm saying for me, I'm not saying I'm right. In my head, I'm right. But I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying, for me, that's how I see it. Same as someone that messes with a child. To me, you're no longer even a human. I don't see a human. I see scum. So I have no remorse whatsoever for what happens to that person.
Well, let me ask you this. Some states, they still have a firing squad.
Yeah.
As their form of execution. Now,
well, it's a choice of form of execution. The state really doesn't. When they sentence you to death, they don't say, "Hey, we're going to shoot you." They actually, some states give the prisoner a choice of how they die.
Well, in the case of the shooting squad, it's my understanding. I think there's 5 or 6 of these people, 5 or 6 people chosen. Kind of like a jury duty type thing. But only one of these guns are loaded. Nobody knows which one it is. They all pull the trigger.
Well, you would know at that point if it was loaded or not.
How would you know?
Because one goes click and the other one goes bang.
Well, I mean,
unless they loaded it with blanks.
Yes.
You'd still know. You could still tell the difference between a blank and a.
How would you feel being called up for this shooting squad duty?
Depends on what the guy did.
Well, let's say
if it was this situation, I have no problem with that. I really don't. Actually, I had a similar conversation with a friend many years ago. This was before this gentleman had children or even was married. And there was a case on TV about this guy that had, I guess, molested a kid. And we were watching the story on the news. And I told him, I said, if someone ever did that to one of my children or harmed one of my kids or my wife, I said I would take him out into the woods, tie him to a tree. I said I would take a razor knife, turpentine, and a lighter. And I would tie him to the tree, and I would take the razor knife and have my fun with him and pour turpentine over the wounds. And when I finally got enough and I felt fulfilled, I'd just light a match and walk away. Now, my friend, he said, you can't say that. You don't know what you would do in that situation. No, I'm telling you, I know what I would do if someone harmed one of my kids. He's like, you're full of it. There's no way, you're not that type of person. Well, I'm telling you, something like that happened to one of my children or my wife would push me over that brink. So yeah, I wouldn't think twice. So, but hang on.
Okay.
Many years later, I would say it was like 6 or 7 years. This friend of mine got married, and he had a child. Now I ran into him at the grocery store, and for some reason that conversation came back up. And I asked him, I said, so now that you have a child, what's your thoughts? And he goes, you know what? I agree with you. He said, I would do the same thing. So I know I'm not alone with those thoughts on that kind of stuff, but I think certain crimes, like I said, it brings that person to be not a person in
Okay,
my
well, let me
eyes.
ask you this: in personal acts of vengeance, because that's what we would call this. Somebody hurts your family, and you want to take them out to the woods. Could you say that personal act of vengeance is justified?
To me, it would be justified. Now, whether the state says so or
No,
not,
no, no, no. Really, when you say when it comes to the state, you're really talking about when it comes to the jury.
okay, jury, government, state,
It's
whatever.
not the well. It's
In my
supposed to be the
eyes, it
same.
would be justified. Now, would it be to a jury? Who knows? You know, it depends on how many parents or husbands and wives would be on that jury, and how they felt about it. I know that whatever punishment came my way, I would take it. You know,
You know, it's the one thing that really it kind of sickens me with a lot of defense attorneys. Now I'm glad there's defense attorneys, but it seems like for every act committed, every criminal act, there's some kind of mental illness or some kind of sickness or some kind of whatever reasoning behind why they did this horrible, evil thing.
well, then let's call it a cleansing and let's start curing some sick people.
Be very careful with that. We need to go to a music break.
No, not yet. We got a couple minutes before we go, but
I was trying to save you from yourself.
well, then that's fine. No, I'm just saying, serious. In all seriousness, um, I don't have a problem with that type of justification. I mean, if I was to see this story unfold on the TV to where a husband went and killed the person that killed his wife or a child, in my mind, I would be like, let him walk. I can't even, and it may sound terrible on my behalf. I know right now, someone listening is probably like, this guy's a crackpot. But in my mind, yeah, that's justified. I just don't have a problem with that. I mean, does that sound wrong to you? I mean,
Well, I completely understand it. But at the same time, you have to think at what point does a revenge killing end?
what do you mean?
Okay, so you kill the guy that killed your family member.
Okay.
Now, is a family member of the guy that you killed justified to come after you?
They can try.
You see how this. I mean, you'd have ongoing feudings. It would open the door for that. I'm afraid.
Yeah,
And it
but
could
I
be
think
drawn out for a long period of time. I'm just saying that's a possibility.
sure, it's a possibility. Um, and I'm pretty sure that I can safely say for all my friends, um, if something like this was to happen to any of us, we would all be there. I mean, one phone call, let's say something happened to your family member, and you said, "Hey, I don't know what I'm gonna do. This happened." I mean, I'd be like, "Hey, that's in my mind. Put them down." I know it sounds terrible. I know it does. I here's something really funny. This is unrelated in a way, but it's not. Um, I got asked to go speak with a group of, I guess you call them survivalists,
Oh
but
yes.
they wanted to,
Are we talking the hobby survivalist or
yeah, kind of the
okay?
hobby survivalists. These are not extreme poor people. These are very laid back, farming type people.
Okay, I got you.
And we actually met at a church and was discussing different ideas on different, um, I think most of the stuff that we were focusing on were more natural disasters. But they were talking about how when people would come along, they would let them join them and help them out and feed them and clothe them and whatnot. And this goes you where my train of thought goes. I asked him. I said, let's say you're comfortably feeding 20 people, and your farm can sustain these 20 people, and you're doing okay. Now you're going to start taking in people that just come in off the road out in this little farm community. When do you stop taking people in? At what point do you turn people away knowing that they're hungry, they have nowhere to live? How do you let that go? Because if you really think about it, are you willing to sacrifice your children's meals and their food and security for a stranger? And I said I would turn them away. And I said, my number one concern would be with taking care of my family and these people that's in my group or whatever, this little community that I'm in. I said, so I would turn them away. And I think they kind of thought I was like the most horrible person ever.
Well, it in a situation, you're talking about, I guess you're talking about a post-apocalyptic situation.
Well, I don't want to go that far and say post-apocalyptic. Even a natural disaster.
Okay.
There's got to be a stopping point that you stop taking people in, because let's say it's a disaster that we don't know how long it's going to last. Now, if I've got enough stuff to keep my family going for a couple of weeks, maybe a month, am I going to dwindle that supply down for a stranger over my own child? See, it's a lot easier to make decisions on paper or when you're talking to people and the situation's not happening. But when you got to look at your own child that's crying because they're hungry,
that sums it up for you real quick.
That right there. Now, they didn't want. I don't want to say they. It was only a couple that really disagreed with me majorly, but they didn't want to agree to that fact that would change their position.
It's really nice to think that you can help everybody.
Oh yeah, warm fuzzies. I get it.
You want to be able to help everybody, but it comes down to the resources you have on hand. Now, provided you have the resources or the means to create resources for these additional people, or if these additional people could help,
right?
Your little group of people in gathering said resources or in other ways, then you take as many people as you can. But if you can't have people just taking away and not giving anything back.
And see, for me, I'm not a farmer. I don't own a big piece of land. I don't have livestock. I don't have anything like that. I'm a fabricator. That's what I do. I can build things. You've seen some of the crap I've come up with over the years. I'm one of those people that if I need something and I don't have it, or I can't get it, I'm going to make it.
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out how the post-apocalyptic world is going to have use for a toilet paper gun.
Because the toilet paper gun's awesome. You never know. Zombies are afraid of the toilet paper gun.
If
it launches hard enough, it can take a head off.
Light it on fire, huh?
Yeah, there you go. See, now you're thinking. No, but seriously, that's where I'm at. So I can't speak from their point, but in my eyes, I'm going to take care. It's my family that's the most important. So in the situation with this killer situation, if you attack or affect one of my family members or take their life, yeah, I'm going to snap. I know I will. They can call that premeditated. They can call it what they want, but it will happen. I can guarantee you.
If you're a defense attorney out there.
Right, yeah. You might want to keep me on speed dial just in case. Let's take a music break real quick.
I'm going to take a cigarette break.
You're going to have your cigarette break. We'll take a music break, and we'll come right back to all this. Well, we kind of got down to the last bit of it. I'm surprised we really was able to work everything we had tonight into one, one program because I mean there was a lot.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
We kind of had to jump around from different because we get sidetracked.
But I did enjoy your. We went from psycho killer to apocalyptic survival. That was interesting.
Yeah, I see. That's how my head
Squirrel!
works. Squirrel, nothing, man. That was like a crossbreed of squirrel jaguar, is what it was. So this kind of brings us down to the end of this, and I don't want to stay too long on this. I don't want to run over, but I'm really frustrated as it is because it seems like right now the whole deal with Sweden cracking down and seizing these websites.
Oh, like Pirates Bay.
The Pirates Bay, yeah. And really, and I'm not going to weigh in either way on what I think about pirating anything. To me, this is more about our privacy as individuals, that these companies can come and stick their nose in our business and record what we do, and then in turn going to try to tell us that they're going to fine us for doing it. Well, first of all, you're a corporation, you're a company. How are you going to fine me? You're not the government. You're not the law.
Who do you think set up the connection to begin with?
Well, that's not the point.
I mean, I don't want to defend either side, just like you. I don't want to weigh in on the piracy issue. The issue here is, okay, the story is that allegedly, okay, Google Fiber is going to try and impose fines and fees to those who illegally download things. And to me, that's a big invasion of privacy for them to monitor your internet, where you visit on the internet and what you do on the internet is a huge violation of privacy. It's just as bad as the NSA listening in on phone calls without warrants.
Well, not only that, but it's almost like Google did take a page right out of the NSA playbook.
Yeah.
Just because you pay someone for a service for you doesn't give them the right to take your personal information whenever they want. Now, anything that I have on my computer is my personal information. And I can see this causing a lot of problems with people getting their personal stuff like bank account numbers, social security numbers, things like this.
Yeah, you're basically saying if they can monitor your downloads, what's to say they can't monitor your banking activity or what you buy or sell on eBay or
right
the personal information that's exchanged over online commerce.
Yeah, and I do not think it should be legal whatsoever.
I don't either. I think that there should be legislation passed saying that whatever you do online is your business and cannot be monitored without a warrant. Or let me be more specific. A warrant must be served to you personally before any kind of monitoring should be allowed.
Well, but here's the thing. Why would they even issue that if they weren't snooping to begin with to see what you're doing?
Here's the thing. Nowadays, communication companies aren't just communication companies. They either own interest or outright own other companies that distribute media. And I think Google is one of these companies that have stake in or own other media companies. And their argument is people doing these quote unquote illegal downloads is hurting their bottom line. So they're going to start charging you for your illegal downloads. I believe AT&T had a similar practice of slowing down internet speed to their customers, threatening to terminate their service. I believe there was cases where they tried fining or charging people. You know, I mean, Google's not the only company to have scrupulous privacy policies.
Well, like citizens sent out notices to some of their customers, letting them know that if they used a large amount of bandwidth, that they would investigate them and find out if they're downloading illegal, I guess, copyrighted material, whatever, movies, music, blah blah blah. So they were literally tracking their customers' data usage.
I think that we need to set in place a law to prohibit companies. I mean, these are service providers. They are there to, I mean, you pay your monthly bill for a service, not to allow them to invade your privacy. And for them to invade your privacy, I believe is criminal on their behalf.
Okay, for those out there that don't understand how all this works or may not be, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? You may be technologically challenged. This would be the equivalency of your electricity provider, which around these areas it's all KCP&L. Let's say you went to work one day and left your living room light on. You come home from work, you turn that light off. A couple days later, you get a notice in the mail from the electric company that says, hey, while you were gone from your home, you left this light on and wasted electricity, so now we're going to have to fine you. To me, that's a good summary of what this is.
Or
I'm paying this provider to use that service, which I pay for the service that I have to use. So, by using it when I'm not here, they want to fine me. That's the same as with the internet. They're going to try to track how much activity I do use, and if they suspect that I'm using too much, then therefore I might get a fine.
Yeah, but here's the thing: in these service plans, you're signed up for so much speed, so much up and down speed, upload and download speed. You can't go beyond that. Now, if you want to use your internet service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, by God, I say you can because you're paying for that service.
Well, here's the problem. The words unlimited don't mean unlimited anymore. It's like they rewrote the word unlimited. I wouldn't be surprised one of these days if we don't crack open a dictionary and under the word unlimited it says
limited to
3 gigabytes of data. So that's what they're doing though. Is these companies, my phone does it too. If I go over my data, they cut me down to where it's a slow crawl. I get it.
Well, I think we need to start passing legislation and start punching back at these companies, saying, look, this type of behavior in which you're wanting to this behavior you want to act towards your customers is illegal. We are not going to allow you to operate under these premises. Period.
Well, it'd be one thing if my service plan on my phone said, hey, you can have unlimited talks and texts, but we're only offering you 3 gigs of data. That's what you get for your monthly usage. I'd be like, okay, well, it makes sense. I used up my 3 gigs. Slow me down.
Therefore, it's not unlimited anymore.
But I'm saying if they came forward and said this is what it is, but instead they put unlimited call, text, and data, but it's not unlimited. Well, hang on, let me rephrase this. It is unlimited. They're just going to bring it to a slowing crawl where you can't even load a page on your phone.
Then here's what I think you should do. You should be able to sue the company for breach of contract. But see, now here's the problem. People start suing these companies for breach of contract. Okay, fine. The company pays a breach of contract fee and terminates your service. So now you have to find a new service provider.
Well, I guess you should read the fine print, huh?
The downside of that is so many of these service providers nowadays are intertwined with each other. Yeah, they have different company names, but the companies are ultimately owned by the same people or groups of people.
I get it. I I think Google is opening a can of worms.
Well, AT&T opened the can of worms. Google's opening a can of worms. Comcast, Time Warner. I mean, the list goes on and on.
They think they're losing money now. It's only going to get worse.
Yeah, I say, okay, you want to act this way? Fine, we'll do without your internet.
Yeah,
we'll do without your cable service.
I don't need my internet to be that fast anyway. Not for what I do.
Yeah, I read the news and play a few games. That's it.
Right. So it's not like we're downloading 24/7.
And really, what they want to call pirates, people downloading these evil pirates downloading stuff. Well, let's look at it this way. When you can turn on your television without, a cable provider or satellite provider, let's just say you're using your off-air antenna, and you're watching shows. In the old days, you used a VCR to record your show. Nowadays, you use a TiVo or, some kind of data recorder device. What's the difference?
Squirrel moment.
Okay.
Answer this for me. You know how TV networks always they release these numbers of they have so many people tuned in and watched this show.
How do they know that?
Well, especially back in the day when it was done with rabbit ears. How did they know?
Well, back in the day, they I forget the name of this survey, but they actually sent out a survey and like $2 in this survey. As a thank you for taking this survey, you would answer various questions of shows you watched, what time you watched them, and so forth and so on.
I've never seen one of these.
We actually got one in the mail a few years back. And
they must not care what I watch. I've never seen anything like that.
Well, ultimately, they don't. What they care about is what their advertisers think gets watched, because that's where they make their money.
Well, that's how we get prime time.
It's through the advertising that's paying for your.
Nowadays, I mean, I get it. Nowadays, it's all digital. It'd be easy to track.
When they went digital, it really hurt their coverage. It takes more energy, more electricity to broadcast that higher definition signal as it did that old analog signal. And therefore, it cut down the reception area by, I would say, at least a third, if not more.
Oh, we can't get nothing out here.
Yeah, I mean, used to you could put up the rabbit ears, coat hangers or some tinfoil, and you could pick up stations no problem. They may not be crystal clear, but no.
Or you had to stand there and hold it.
Well, you had kids for that. Nowadays, the slightest bit of interference will cause pixelation, screen freezes, or you won't even get the damn thing at all.
Right. Well, out here, the only thing we get off the digital is the local, I think the college TV comes in from the campus. That's it.
Yeah. Really, you're not missing out on anything, because there's really, there's a
but it would be nice to at least be able to watch the news or the weather every once in a while, especially when storms are coming in. For me, I can survive off using my cell phone because I get all those alerts and all the stuff sent to my phone anyway. So when bad weather's coming in, my phone dings off and lets me know. I can pull the radar up on my phone. I guess the one good thing is about the phone situation, if the power goes out, I can still see what's going on. And a couple of the TV networks do have apps for the phone now where you can watch live streaming weather reports.
Or you can get instant weather reports to your phone. They'll send you weather reports that way.
Well, actually, they actually have an app where you can watch the live broadcast.
Yeah.
Of the weather, if a storm's coming in or whatnot. So, yes, I do have my phone for that. But, first thing in the morning, I would like to just click on a TV, watch the news, get my weather. So I know what's going on for the day.
Yeah. But really, with this privacy issue, come on.
I did warn you it was a squirrel moment.
It was... I think you hit a whole squirrel nest with that. But, I can understand maybe HBO being upset, or those paid for channels. But when you've got programming that can be viewed off of off-air high-def antenna for nothing, I don't see the reason of trying to criminalize people for downloading that. I mean, it's silly, it's stupid, I think it's a misuse of the copyright laws in behalf of these copyright holders. They think that they come up with these shows and then they broadcast them over public air and think that they still have rights to it. I mean, it's so silly. I think that they actually think that if you have friends over watching the same movie, that they should get money out of your friend's pocket for watching the movie on your television for the movie that you went to the store and paid for.
I believe it.
I mean, we need to adapt the copyright laws to modern times. I mean, this is not 1976 anymore. We need to revise this copyright law and tell these corporations to keep them out of it. Let the public people decide, not the corporations.
Technically, we're kind of out of time here, and I don't want to have to pay a fine. So we're going to roll out of here and call it another week, and we will see everyone next week.
Be safe. Be careful.